Good morning, everybody. It's KBR Sports, the best sports talk show of your 24-hour day, coming to you on WODU Live, the best in college radio. I'm your host, Brendan Abbott, my two co-hosts. Starting off, my co-host to my right, Khaled Lewis, and my co-host to my left, Rashad Pennell. We're bringing you KBR Sports this morning, y'all. How's everybody doing this morning? How you fellas feeling?
Tight.
Man, the answer never changes. I always ask, just in hopes that somebody would have a different answer, but it's always
I got a different answer.
Rashad has a
Oh,
different
I
answer.
got you today, man. I got you.
All
Got
right,
you.
how you feeling, Rashad?
You know, didn't have to work this morning, so got that extra little sleep in, so I'm not as tired.
Wish I had.
So I'm actually, I'm got a little energy. I'm pepper my step today. We good. So now I got energy and ready to talk some sports.
I know, sweet.
So how
See,
how go ahead, Kyle. What are you gonna say?
I'm tired because I was up all night working on this presentation, but I know it's about to be the most fire presentation ever.
The most fire.
What
Hey,
what's it for?
It's for my pop culture and media class. It's basically hip hop culture and how it affects pop culture.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool. How long did it take you to do?
Well, I was brainstorming for like a long time. I was just talking to my boy. It was just talking just a bunch of music stuff, and then like I got all my ideas, and then it really took me only 2 hours, really.
I have a question
But
for you. I have
yeah,
a question. I have a question for you. When was this assignment assigned to you?
this was assigned. I wouldn't say a week or so ago. No, yeah,
And you'll stand up all night working on it because you pushed it to the
yeah.
day before.
Well, see, I've been working on it, but the thing
You
is,
see, people, this is
nah,
what you don't do.
I've been working on it this whole week. That's why I didn't go out this weekend. And like it was just I couldn't like get no real clear points. So then when I had the conversation with my boy, it just like everything just fell through. Like I got all my points right there.
Okay,
Everything I
All the
needed.
pieces fell in place.
on the
Mm-hmm.
last day.
I
It did.
feel you. All right, y'all. Let's get into the topics for the day. So starting off, the topics we're gonna be having for our show today is gonna be consist of covering about the NCAA tournament, which loss has been actually the worst loss so far in this tournament. It's been pretty exciting, but which of these losses would you characterize as, man, that was just a terrible way to go? And then we'll get into the Spurs finally be able to be in the first elite team to prevail over the Golden State Warriors, and they continue their home winning streak. And then we'll get into some of asking the question: is Kawhi Leonard respected as a superstar in the NBA? And then we'll round it out with talking about Richard Sherman and his comments that he made about Roger Goodell and the NFL's rules. But starting off, the NCAA tournament, man, like last time we were on last Wednesday, this tournament has just gone one way or the other. This tournament has been so unpredictable. I feel like brackets were busted the very minute that Yale beat Baylor, and oh yeah, and to what's his name? I wish I had your name right up on the screen for me. But to the Wisconsin fan last week, I give y'all credit. I give y'all your credit. Y'all
Mm-hmm.
beat Pittsburgh. It was a close game. I give and y'all beat Xavier yesterday off a game-winning shot. I'm giving y'all credit. Y'all made a Sweet 16. I'm gonna give you a shout out, man. I wish I had your name right in front of me on the screen, but I don't. But I need to credit the Badgers just to get things started. But
You doubted them.
I did doubt it. They've won both games off almost game winning shots. Pittsburgh was closer, and hey, you were down there for a second too. Don't
No, I
act like
told
you
you
went
they
down.
win. I told you they
No,
get
you
10.
just said they would win. But remember last week you was
And
like,
I said
you were swaying a little bit. What? He was swaying, wasn't he?
Nah.
I
And
was
then-
like, Pitt's a good team, but I was like,
and then you were swaying a bit.
They're going to lose next game.
But you were swaying. You did say you said either team would lose the next game, but you were swaying a tad bit. But
Oh.
regardless, it don't matter. Wisconsin's won. They're in the Sweet 16, and it feels like there's so many ACC teams in the Sweet 16. We'll actually see which teams progress on to go into the Elite Eight. But guys, which loss so far in the tournament has been your worst loss? Which one do you feel has been the worst? Rashad, I'll start with you. What do you think?
The worst loss of the NCAA tournament. I know what everybody's expecting me to say, but I'm not saying it because the worst loss is last night, Northern Iowa versus Texas A&M. You're up by 14 with 45 seconds left. 45 seconds left. Bohannon goes out the game. You're number one inbounder, and after you break down, and number 4, whoever you are, you're the worst excuse of a big man ever. I don't know if you lost your basketball skills like Charles Barkley did in the movie, because that's exactly what you did. You just sit there and did this every time you tried to do a layup. Like, you didn't try to contest nothing, and resultantly you gave up 14 points. So looking at that, you and I had this game won, about to be one of the biggest upsets of the tournament. 14 points, 45 seconds left. You can't inbound the ball. Your point guard, you're supposed to be your most responsible guy on the court, doesn't understand there's 11 seconds on the clock. In college, you have a 10-second violation. So you hold the ball for 9 seconds and throw the ball in the air. No, he tries to throw it off the dude's legs. Dude backs up, picks it, layup, overtime. Going to double overtime, 5 seconds left. You got the ball. What you do? You should have half-court shot with 3 seconds left. Inexperience. This team was inexperienced. They blew the chance to make it Sweet 16. Chance to go down in history is one of the first times they've done this in their program. So you're looking at like, wow, this has to be the worst loss in college basketball this year in the tournament.
Kyler, what about you?
I think the obvious one that which I was thinking about was the Michigan State and Middle Tennessee loss. One being the biggest, like one of the most projected winners for the NCAA tournament, Michigan State, or as far as the people seem to go, they was just knocked out in the first round by a 15 seed. And it was just, I guess, it just destroyed people's brackets all across the country. People were not expecting this. They had them going so much further, and that's just the level of skill that they have and how far that they made it. The fact that they got basically the most wins, the better record in the entire country, but then they lost when it came to game time against Middle Tennessee. So I think that might be a bad loss for them.
I agree. I feel as though that definitely was the loss that busted a lot of brackets. But as far as worst loss, like I mean, I guess it depends on what criteria you want to talk about. 'Cause I feel like you went under the criteria of biggest upset, whereas I feel as though he went in the direction of he feels as though most incompetent loss, sort of. I feel like the worst loss probably was the Texas loss to Northern Iowa, because that heave, like it was such a tough contested game. It went back and forth and everything, but to lose off of a half court heave, it's not even like Wisconsin's Xavier shot, because I mean that man, he shot a fadeaway three, and I mean that's a shot that it's not a high percentage shot, but sometimes it's possible to hit it. You know what I mean? But a half court heave,
that's a shot based on luck.
You know what I mean? And he said it. He said, "I just threw it up and I hope to win it." But you know the funny thing is, against Texas A&M, I guess he tried to recreate the same magic.
Exactly.
And I don't know,
with 3 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, I don't know why, because I think they inbounded it with initially 5 seconds.
5.9 seconds.
Yeah, and then he dribbled up to half court and then he just heaves it. I was like, what? And then Texas A&M gets another chance to shoot the ball, and then I was just like, so if Texas A&M would have hit that shot, you know how destroyed he would have gotten the media for shooting the shot. I mean, they still went on to lose, but he could have at least even got to the 3-point line. He had an extra 3 seconds, because the Texas A&M guy, Texas A&M guy got the rebound and still shot the ball to full length of the full court. So, I mean, that's a loss that comes to my mind. Obviously, the Baylor loss. I mean, yeah, that marks the first time Yale has won in the NCAA tournament since I believe. I mean, they made the tournament back in like 1964, but I don't think they had actual NCAA tournament win. That marks the first time they won the NCAA tournament, and Ivy League coming up now, because I mean they played a good game against Duke. It's not like Duke washed them or anything. They played a good game against Duke, and they obviously beat Baylor. And it was funny to see that clip of the Baylor player saying, when they asked him how did you guys get out rebounded, he was like, they they jumped up, they grabbed the ball, whenever the ball was in the air, they grabbed it, they came down with it, and that's how they out rebounded us. And it was just such a sarcastic answer. Like, I mean, obviously that's how they got rebounded, but. And so I feel like that was a tough loss to swallow. But I mean, so if we look at the criteria, so you would say, would you guys agree that the worst upset was the Michigan State?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the biggest upset.
So then what would be the would you still stay with your pick for worst loss?
Yeah, because it's see you like, all right. So this is how I feel like this all criteria are. You have the most heartbreaking loss. You have the biggest upset. Well, I guess that's a heartbreaking loss too, because Michigan State is winning the championship. And then you have a team that broke down with 45 seconds left in the game. Complete
That's just
breakdown. I'm talking
disappointing.
about complete disappointment. So I don't know what the criteria is for.
Yeah, it
for
was
a worst
kind of rough
loss
one when I saw
because
it too.
pretty much all of those losses were pitiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're
I
pretty
mean,
bad.
I can't. The thing about Middle Tennessee and Michigan State basically had no chance the whole game because Middle Tennessee had to lead the whole game and never let off.
They were balling.
They took it to them right from the grip. Texas and Northern Iowa, you look at that like anything could happen. He would have made it. Texas would have missed it. Texas would have won. Made it. Northern Iowa won. This loss, there should be no reason they should have lost, but they did. So I'm just like, it's.
Wait, which loss are you talking about?
Northern Iowa and Texas A&M. There should be no reason they lost that game.
Man, to allow a comeback like that, I think the run was like 23-6 or something like that.
That's ridiculous.
Tracy McGrady was on that team
last
night.
It was a run that
they almost tripled their points.
Yeah, it was a crazy run, and you just see the plays out. Northern Iowa broke down late in the game last night. It was crazy.
But it's crazy to see how important an inbounder is.
Yeah,
because when he came back in overtime, breaking that press was no problem for them.
Mm-hmm.
But it shows you like what one player can do for your team, and when he went out for the end of the fourth quarter or end of the second half, it's crazy. It changed it completely.
Yep, it's crazy, but. All right, we're going to move on. But also for those of everybody that wants to join in on the debate, call in at 757-683-4405 and also tweet us at KBR_sports so we can see your comments and read them live during the show. And so you can get your intake on the topics we're talking about today and also to help give us topics for next week's show. But moving on, staying in basketball, actually, we're going to go to the NBA. And, finally, an elite team beats the Golden State Warriors. Not that I was wishing it or anything, but I mean, come on. The season was getting a little dry.
Mm-hmm.
Like we needed something to be like, hey, they're not invincible. Granted, they were a little shorthanded. They didn't have Andre Iguodala, they didn't have Festus Ezeli, and they didn't have Andrew Bogut. But the fact of the matter is, they lost. They lost to a team that actually was a top 3 seed in either conference. Finally, but the Warriors, they were essentially. I never thought I'd say this. The Warriors were strapped up on Saturday night. I mean, the score was 79-87, went San Antonio's way. The Warriors shot 25% from 3-point range. I mean, they didn't even turn the ball over all that. I mean, they turned it over 10 times, but Steph Curry went 1 of 12 from 3. Mm-hmm. It was like a rough night for him shooting wise. He went 4 of 18 in general. He had 14 points. But the funny thing is, when you look on the San Antonio side of things, they didn't shoot the ball astronomically well either. I mean, they shot 38% from 3. They shot 41% from the field. So they didn't shoot all that well either because both teams played great defensively. Mm-hmm. It's just that they just limited what the Warriors like to do best, and that's shoot threes. So guys, what do you think about this this win for San Antonio? Is it a big deal or not a big deal? Colin, let's start with you. What do you think?
The Spurs beat the Warriors, and we all been hoping that. Well, I haven't been hoping, but we've been wanting somebody to be able to show them, like you said, they're not invincible. Mm-hmm. But I don't really think this win is a big deal. Mm-hmm. One, because they didn't have all their players: Andre Iguodala, Andrew Bogut, and Festus Ezeli.
Yeah.
They were out of the game, so that definitely hurts some of that depth. Also, I feel like Steph Curry might have just had an off night, just to not be hitting shots like that. Mm-hmm. And then also the fact that the Spurs weren't as productive on offense as well. But the funny thing is, everybody, I guess it also contribute to the good defense that Danny Green and who else was it? Tony Parker. Man,
it was a great team defense.
Mm-hmm. Danny Green and Tony Parker trying to shut down Steph Curry. I think they did a great job, and I just feel like some of those shots. I feel like some of his shots still could have went in some situations, but it was just he just won't feeling it. So even they said themselves that they weren't thinking that this was such a big deal because they didn't have all their players, and then next time they see them, they probably wouldn't be sure if they'd win as well. So I feel like if they just don't acknowledge it as such a big win, then why should we?
All right, Rashad, what do you think?
When you see this loss, a lot of people like to say, "Yeah, that's what happens when Steph Curry and Klay Thompson don't hit the shots." Well, obviously that's what happened with anybody when the best players
Exactly.
doesn't score on the team. They're going to lose. It's the best players on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at it like they had off nights. Yeah, I mean their defense was good, but at the same time, San Antonio barely won when their 2-star players didn't score. And I mean, yeah, I can credit their defense. I can credit San Antonio's defense, but at the same time, Steph Curry still had a lot of like Steph Curry open shots.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, what was open to him, not open to many other people, but open to him.
Yeah,
He had a lot of those
night.
shots still. He just couldn't hit them. And every night they're not going to hit. They're not going to go in a shooting slump like this because they're just too great of shooters to both of them be in a slump like this. It's not going to be like that every night. So I mean, you can give San Antonio credit, but I mean, it doesn't change the fact that they still got waxed earlier. So, and I mean, everybody was like, Tim Duncan makes an impact, but I mean, at the same time, Steph Curry shot 12 threes. He only shot 6 like layups and stuff. So it's like he wouldn't have really changed the game really that much of the other game because Steph Curry's still gonna shoot his threes, Klay Thompson's still gonna shoot his threes. They're just more efficient. So I'm looking at it like it doesn't really show anything for either team. It's just one game. Both teams strapped each other up. Notice the score is 87-79.
They still got 2 more competitions.
Yep. So I'm just like, nah, it's not gonna happen again. You're not gonna hold Steph to 1 for 12. You're not gonna hold Klay Thompson for 7 for 20 for the game. So I'm just saying, it's not gonna happen again.
I'm not sure. Are you? I don't think you're giving the Spurs their credit here. I mean you're
they-
making it sound like it was the Warriors more so missing the shots than the Spurs actually playing great
the Spurs
defense.
played great defense, but at the same time, Steph Curry still got Steph Curry open shots.
He did, but there were a lot of his shots were contested. I mean, those
And
are
they're always contested.
he had I'd say
That's the funny part.
I say about a portion of his shot. Like there was always, I mean, Danny Green blocked the first Steph Curry shot attempt of the season, and this isn't a big man that blocked. It was another guard. I mean, he shot over big dudes and everything. They were all over him. Like they were running him off the 3-point line entirely. They were willing to sacrifice inside presence, but the thing is they had the inside presence. That's because they forced it that way. I mean, I look at this stat that's interesting to me because I saw it said the first matchup that they had was the fastest pace that the Spurs have played, which was 105.2 possessions per game. While this game was the slowest Golden State has played with 90.2 possessions per game, and it's the slowest pace that Golden State's played all season. So I look at that, and San Antonio actually played their game this time. And I mean, they ran Steph off the 3-point line. They ran Klay off the 3-point line. At first, those guys were trying to force the issue with the threes from the 3-point line. Then Steph started realizing, hey man, they're just gonna be all over me no matter. And the bigs played great defense on them, coming off of screens and everything. Like LaMarcus Aldridge would be out there playing them tight and everything. I remember there was one play where I think LaMarcus Aldridge, it should have been called a kick ball, but he kicked the ball and the ball rolled to like that half court. And he started to back up. Then he was like, "Oh man, Steph Curry!" So he runs up out to him to contest him from that deep of range. So I feel as though, I mean, yeah, there were some shots. There were a couple of shots that I'm like, okay, Steph normally hits that. Like there was like an offensive rebound, I believe, in like the last 30 seconds that went to Steph. He was wide open. He missed it. And there's another one like with like 2 or 3 minutes left to go that he missed when he was wide open. But I feel as though a lot of it has to do with the great defense that San Antonio played on them. I mean, I think I saw another, like they out-rebounded them tremendously. And the fact that Tim Duncan took it upon himself to be willing to come off the bench for just the 3rd time in his career played a big part in it too, because when Golden State came out with the small lineup first with Brandon Rush, they countered back with starting Boris Diaw, someone who can spread the floor by shooting threes, but who's also a big body, but he can also keep up with smaller guys. So that's how San Antonio countered that. And I even looked at it also with the defense that they played on them. Kawhi Leonard wasn't even the primary defender on Steph. He primarily guarded Draymond Green. And in the 46 possessions that he guarded Draymond Green, it only resulted in 5 assist opportunities for Draymond Green, and he only had 11 points. So they pretty much played lockdown defense all around. They didn't get out of position with their defense. They did everything. They got over screens and everything. So they played defensively sound. I mean, San Antonio even had their mistakes in this game. I mean, they had 17 turnovers. I mean, I remember I was watching it in the first half. I was like, man, they are playing sloppy. So as much as we can say that, I mean, and it's not like San Antonio shot all that great either. I mean, they shot what? Kawhi Leonard was 5 of 14. And Marcus Aldridge was 11 of 25. Boris Diaw was balling. He shot 6 of 7. Tony Parker was 2 of 8. Danny Green was 4'10".
Which shows a good defense of them. But if you look at it like this, you look at Boris Diaw and LaMarcus Aldridge, you had Harrison Barnes on you.
Yeah, but that's an advantage. That's
exactly
that's their advantage.
And that's why Boris Diaw was that efficient. But LaMarcus Aldridge have no excuse for going 11 for 25 when you have Harrison Barnes on you.
But
you're one of the most best power forwards in the game, and you're going 11 for 25.
But he shot 11 shots with an actual big on him. He was 4 of 11 when there was an actual big on him. So I mean, not all when he had a smaller player on him, he shot over 50%. So
yeah, but if you think, I'm saying
he actually did his thing against Harrison Barnes, but it's whenever they put yeah. So I'm
saying when Festus Ezeli and Andrew Bogut come back, Andrew Bogut is one of the best big defenders they have.
He is, but that does play a part in that
win.
But if how is it a red flag? Okay, see, here's the thing. That's why they said they're not gonna get too caught up in the win because of the fact that those guys weren't here.
Yeah, exactly.
But you also realize you played great defense because it's not like the Warriors don't go to a small ball lineup, and you guarded that small ball lineup with your bigs on the floor. So regardless, you saw how you were going to guard the small ball lineup, even as Festus, because that lineup at some point is going to be in the game. Just Andre Iguodala is going to be in there at some point. Now that's the bigger factor to me. It was Andre Iguodala being out rather than those two. I would say one of the bigs being out was a big deal, but Andre Iguodala was the biggest one because he's normally the one that's in the death ball lineup. Yeah. But even if you put Andre Iguodala in there, I mean, he's most likely guarding Kawhi Leonard, who didn't shoot efficiently already as it was, but the man shoots over 50, he shoots about 51% on the season. So
I think Andre Iguodala will put up those 8-9 points they needed for the win.
Yeah. Oh, and not for the win. But see, here's the deal. Like, Brandon Rush didn't play bad. The only thing you take away from Brandon Rush from what he did was he wasn't as efficient as defense as Andre Iguodala would have been. But I mean, as a team, they still play great defense. But as you know, as a person you're going to want Andre Iguodala in the game. Yeah. But Brandon Rush didn't actually play that bad in the position.
He did. Brandon Rush didn't play bad, but I mean, he was just out there to space the floor practically. I mean, because Draymond Green was the primary guarder on LaMarcus Aldridge and Kawhi Leonard. He guarded them, and that's their best defender. So you know what I'm saying? So even Andre Iguodala is there. I mean, he's their best defender, and he guarded Kawhi Leonard and LaMarcus Aldridge for most of the game. I mean, I saw one play. He plucked Kawhi Leonard clean. It was mean, but I mean, Kawhi Leonard got him back, but it was mean. But I try to give the Spurs I just want to give the Spurs their credit.
I mean, you can give the Spurs their credit, but I feel like it's not that.
I feel like it's just because when Golden State won the other time without Tim Duncan, we hadn't seen this game yet, but everybody was willing to say, "Oh, Golden State's ready to run away with it," and we all know Tim Duncan makes a difference. So we're talking about these guys, and Tim. It's not like these guys. It's not like Tim Duncan is Andrew Bogut or Festus Ezeli. Tim Duncan is the primary rim defender. He makes it. He actually can score from the post, unlike Andrew Bogut. It's Tim Duncan. And we were acting like, oh yeah, regardless if he's in the lineup, they're gonna win. Well, why can't we say the same for them? Only player I'll say that makes the astronomical difference is Andre Iguodala and maybe Festus Ezeli. Because Andre, I feel like sometimes they play better with Festus than Andrew Bogut.
I mean, I think they play better with Festus as an offensive standpoint, but not as a defensive standpoint. Because I mean, Andrew Bogut, I'm still calling this man Andrew Bogut for years now. But I mean, I can't take away from what he does around the rim.
Stephen A. too.
He calls him Andrew Bogut as well.
I feel like Stephen A. is the one they've been calling that joint for a minute.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard him call it.
Yeah, Stephen A. says it on the first take all the time. He says it.
Now I don't sound creative anymore.
Yeah,
I mean, you just changed one letter.
Yeah,
it's still, but it's because I thought Hollywood started this show. I guess I didn't.
Stephen A. been saying on first take since his Milwaukee days, bro.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well then, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah. I mean, for such a high draft pick, he's been saying that he hasn't panned out for a good while. But here's the thing. So when we look at this, so as a morale standpoint, if the San Antonio Spurs would have lost this game, how do you guys feel like that would have affected the morale as a morale standpoint? If you guys don't think it was a big deal, how would you, especially with that home game winning streak? I think now it's at 34-35 for this season. How do you guys think that would have affected them from a morale standpoint if you guys don't think it was a big deal?
I mean, it definitely would have hurt them for the home game winning streak because they've been going off at home, and if they didn't beat them at home, they probably would have just crushed them. But I mean, beating them at home, I mean, the way they beat them, well, not the how many points or whatever that they scored more than them. I guess they feel like that they could have did better, but because all their pieces weren't there, they couldn't. I guess it wasn't the best Warriors team. You see what I'm saying? going up against them.
Okay.
This game meant more to the Spurs than it did the Warriors. Yes, you have the record, but
Even though they haven't won there in over since Tim Duncan was a senior at Wake Forest.
who hasn't won? What do you mean?
The Warriors haven't won at San Antonio in over since 1996,
Yeah,
I believe.
it's
I think
still it's still
1998.
more of a it's still meant more to the Spurs because yeah, you have the record. Yeah, that's one X game you shouldn't have lost because you're fighting for the record. But at the same time, the Spurs have something to prove because they went in there and got dubbed in Oracle Arena. So you can't come here and if you get dubbed here at home, then you're looking in the playoffs like, well, they can easily beat us at any place. It doesn't matter where they play at. So I'm looking at it like we have to win this game at home more so than them winning to keep the record alive. So you look at something like that and like we have to make sure we can beat this team at home. Yeah, they have one more home game. We got to make sure we can win all our games at home and go there and win at least one game to win the series.
See that I agree with that because I do believe that it was one of those things that even regardless of them being at home, even if this game was played in Golden State, it hurts to lose a game back-to-back games against a team that everybody is. I mean, they're only 3 games behind this team. They're 59-10, and the Warriors are 62-7. So everybody's looking at it, and they still think they can catch them. I mean, with 14 games left to play, I mean that's difficult to do, but they still feel as though they can catch them for the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. So for a team that's sitting there, and you're looking like, well, we're kind of getting overlooked here, while these guys are being put on this. I mean, because they are going for the record. These guys are getting put on this pedestal that, and we're not seen as good. And for some time, it didn't seem as though people were going to regard them as good until Oklahoma City essentially tailed off a little bit. Nobody was even putting the Spurs in this conversation, really. So I do, and especially with your home win streak, I feel like they're like you both said, there was a little bit extra to it because of the fact that people are sitting there saying, well, you're gonna they're pretty much gonna beat you in every way possible. You went into their house, you couldn't end their home game winning streak. They're gonna come into your house, end your home game win streak, end their streak of losing in San Antonio, and then get another game of separation between y'all. So I definitely do feel as though this game was a high stakes game for the Spurs. And I mean, Steph Curry before the game did say that it did mean something to the Warriors because I mean, losing at a place, because him personally he's played San Antonio plenty of times, and him personally having lost so many times against San Antonio. I mean, he said he hasn't enjoyed it, and he said he would have liked to have gotten the win, but like he said, they'll be all right. But going on to the next topic, actually staying with the Spurs, Kawhi Leonard. We talk about Kawhi Leonard during the season, and it seems as though whenever people talk about MVPs and everything, I mean, obviously this season Steph should be a unanimous MVP, but even if we were to have an MVP discussion, I don't feel as though many people would bring up Kawhi Leonard's name. And I don't know if Kawhi Leonard essentially gets the respect that other superstars such as a LeBron James, a Paul George, Stephen Curry, a Russell Westbrook get. So, guys, do you feel as though as a superstar, Kawhi Leonard deserves more respect? Rashad, we'll start with you. What do you think?
I believe he doesn't get his respect. I mean, I don't think he's an MVP player, but I do respect him a little more than I used to. Because when you look at him, he plays with a LaMarcus Aldridge, he plays with a Tony Parker, he plays with a Tim Duncan, he plays with a Manu Ginobili, he plays, you know what I'm saying? He's coached by Pop. So you're looking at this team like there's so many like big names there, like that you just overlook somebody like Kawhi Leonard because you just have like these famous names who's on that team, and it's just like that team is just like it's just like a famous team. So when you play for that team, you're like, well, it's easy to get overshadowed by these other players on the team, and so you get overlooked for how great you actually are on the team. And a lot of people will like not try to give him his credit because he's like, well, you play for Pop system, and you have all these other players here for you, so we're not going to give you your credit. Where you look at somebody like a Steph Curry or LeBron, we've seen LeBron play in so many different systems and still do the same thing he do. We've seen Steph Curry play with 2 different coaches and still put up the same numbers he put up. So you're just like, is it Pop that's making Kawhi Leonard, or is it Kawhi Leonard making Kawhi Leonard in a sense? You see what I'm saying? So I feel like that's why he doesn't really get respected. But I think he should be like in the MVP talks. I don't see why not. He's the best on his team. He's the best 2-way player in the game. So I don't understand why you should not.
So wait, so you're definitely saying he should be an MVP player? Because I'm not sure.
I said MVP talks towards the bottom of the list of MVP talks.
Towards the bottom.
So like if you have, you have like your list of your 3 to 5 players.
Okay.
He's 3 or he's 5. Well, he's not in 3.
So, but is he? So you don't think he's an MVP player? Well, but he's in the MVP talks.
I think he's an MVP talk. I don't think Kawhi Leonard will win an MVP by his end of his career. That's what I'm trying to say. He won't win an MVP award.
I think he's talking about from a standpoint if you take him out of the Spurs lineup.
If you take him out of the Spurs lineup, I don't think he's the same player, honestly.
Okay. Khaled, what about you?
I feel like he don't get his credit as well. Like Rashad was talking about. He has basically four of the big names on his team that kind of like overshadow him. And he just gets overlooked because of Tony Parker's been on the team and Tim Duncan and LaMarcus Aldridge and all these big names. But the thing is, man, like you said, he's the best two-way player in the game. His man is outstanding on defense, probably one of the only people who really can actually try it and like match up against LeBron. So I feel like they do slight him so much because the man be balling for him, and also for him to be having an off night. The man's got 18 points the other night, like
11 rebounds
and 11 rebounds. They called that an off night. That's
actually 14. Sorry, Kawhi, 14 and 4 assists.
14.
Sorry for signing you, bro.
And 4 assists, and I think he had 2 blocks.
You never know, he might be.
So the man just goes off just because he don't score 25 points or 30 points a game. You shouldn't take him out the MVP talk. I mean, the man is still such a pivotal player for the Spurs organization because of his great defense and the fact that he has great offense to match. So I do think they don't give him his credit, and they definitely need to start putting that man in more MVP talks.
Do you feel as though he's an MVP player as Rashad felt? Do you feel as though the same way about him?
I feel like he can give somebody the run for their money. The only thing that
let me ask you this question: if Stephen Curry wasn't doing what he's doing right now,
that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, do you think Kawhi Leonard would be one of the top or one of the high, or would he be the one leading the MVP race? What do you think about that question?
Kawhi Leonard. I think he'll be up there. I definitely think he'll be 1 or 2. You don't think so? But think about it. Stephen Curry, the reason why they don't give Kawhi Leonard his props because he don't score as much. So when you see Stephen Curry drop 40 points, let's see Russell Westbrook dropping 25 points and this, that, and the third. But like Kawhi Leonard is a big piece for his team. And it's like those 30 points that he don't get. It just hurts his whole argument for him being one of the top players in the league.
30 points?
Huh?
Who's 30 points?
Kawhi Leonard, the one
he averages 30 points.
No, I said the 30 points that he don't get.
Oh, yeah. I mean, kind of. I do agree kind of with that. Like the way the media and everything portrays the league now is more of a scoring league. Now you got to be able to score the ball, unless you're LeBron James, which you can just be a facilitator and be how greater you are because your name's LeBron James. So. Honestly, and even the way, it's part of the fact that he's on the San Antonio Spurs because he's way better than Jimmy Butler, but Jimmy Butler gets more name talk than Kawhi Leonard do. So if you take off like a Steph Curry or something like that, in the MVP talks, you're gonna hear somebody like if he was still healthy and the team was still competing in a nice position, you'll hear like a LeBron James, you would hear like a Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, you would hear a Jimmy Butler type player more than before you would hear Kawhi Leonard. So, do I agree with that? No, because I can't stand Jimmy Butler. But you look at them kind of similar players, and you're just like, well, they do kind of the same thing, but it's because one plays for Pop, one doesn't.
Well, I believe that Kawhi Leonard is the man's a Finals MVP. He has a Finals MVP under his belt, and it wasn't even like an Andre Iguodala kind of Finals MVP. But we're like, well, you could have given it to Steph. You might have been able to give it to LeBron. No, Kawhi Leonard deserved the Finals MVP for that series. I mean, the man balled out. He played excellent defense on LeBron James in that finals. Even in the finals the year before, where they lost to LeBron with the Ray Allen shot, you could argue that he could have been the Finals MVP. They would have won that one also. But I look at it and I'm sitting here wondering. I mean, some of it does is played a part because they play in San Antonio, and I do agree the fact that because they play in San Antonio and the way the Spurs basketball scene as might be boring or whatever, that he might not get as much recognition. But I think Kawhi Leonard is one of top 6 players in the league. I mean, the man doesn't even like. I'm looking at his player efficiency rating along with LeBron's, and while LeBron has a player efficiency rating of 26.60, Kawhi's is 25.90, and he takes less shots than LeBron and Steph. He's more efficient than LeBron, and he shoots a better 3-point percentage than Kawhi Leonard is practically leading the league in 3-point percentage at 46.7%, and he shoots 88% from the free throw line. So I'm like, this dude's on another world. Honestly, if Kawhi Leonard attempted as many shots as some of these other superstars, I honestly I'd wonder how many points he could average, because I mean he's averaging 21 points practically, 20.9, and he averages 6.8 rebounds. So, and he's arguably the best two-way player in the game, because I mean as much as people want to bring up Draymond Green's name as he could have won the Defensive Player of the Year last year, I mean the fact of the matter is Kawhi won it, because whatever Kawhi went up against a wing, like I enjoy watching Kawhi Leonard play wing defense. That's how good of a wing defender he is. Like his wing defense is so good. When I watched him guarding Draymond Green yesterday, it was amazing how he guarded him. Like, I mean, sometimes they just left Draymond. They were disrespecting Draymond Green, honestly, because some of his shots, he was honestly legit sitting there wide open. Like he was the one they wanted taking threes. But Kawhi Leonard is such a good defender. And when you watch him even play against people like LeBron, Kevin Durant, he's so long. His hands are huge. So look at, I think the inches of his hands, his measurements are 11.5, I believe. Yeah, I think it's 11.5. So you look at those kind of things, and I believe that if Steph wasn't balling, I think the only person that possibly would be in the conversation over Kawhi right now would be either a Russell Westbrook. It probably would be Russell Westbrook, because I don't think they would put Kevin Durant above him right now, because of the fact that Russell Westbrook's averaging, practically a double-double, and then records play a part in it. I mean, Steph averaged 23 points last season and was the leading vote getter for MVP, and James Harden averaged 28, like 7 and 7. His team was second in the West, I believe, like second or third in the West last year, and he still didn't win it. So halftime, I don't believe it all goes into point production, but I mean, Steph's point production and his team leading the West is just such a great part of it. Yeah, and I do believe if Kawhi Leonard left the Spurs, he's the kind of player he has plays run for. I hear them say this all the time. He has plays run for Kawhi to run for Kawhi Leonard, but it's intended for the Spurs to score. So even if he wasn't in the San Antonio Spurs system, Kawhi Leonard's so efficient. I believe that if he went to another team, he would still be balling.
But I feel like the
he might
make him that efficient.
The system can play, but you can make the same case for Stephen Curry,
because you got to think of it like
you can make the same case for Steph.
I don't know, but Steph
you can make Steph does what he wants, but not every one of his shots. Let's not act like Steph Curry takes all contested shots. They're not all contested shots,
but majority of his shots are.
So yeah, but then the funny thing is when we talk about Stephen Curry, because some of his shots, a lot of those shots, even if they are contested, the shot contest might be a few seconds late. Just because of have enough space. Some of his shots are just higher degree difficulty shots, but then some of them are created off of his great ability of his team passing the basketball, him being able to get open off of screens and stuff. I mean, I'm not going to take away from Steph's greatness of saying that he doesn't create his own shot, but let's not like Kawhi's all open shots too. But Kawhi's hit contested shots. I saw him hit a couple of them against Golden State on Saturday. So if you watch the Spurs regularly, you see Kawhi hits contested shots. He's not hitting the contested threes like Steph, but he hits contested fadeaways. He hit contested layups. He hits a lot of contested shots. Now, not all of them are open. There's no way all your shots are going to be open. There's no way for that to happen. But I mean, the man's shooting more efficiently than LeBron James right now. And I mean, that's the dude that's like, that man's a running locomotive that just lives in the paint. And when you're shooting a high, and he shoots a high, the thing that gets me about, I was surprised to find this out the other day, that he shoots 88% from the free throw line. I was honestly astonished.
Really?
Yeah, he shoots 88% from the free throw line.
The fact that you was astonished.
But because I remember, I think there was a point, I can't remember which season it was. Let me see. I have it right here.
My man's been going off for the longest.
Because I feel his credit. Because look at the jump in the percentage though. He shot 80% last season. Then he goes to 88%. Like That's an incredible jump. You go from 80% to 88%. He's gotten better every season. But and the thing is, the reason why I believe Kawhi is the MVP, that is an MVP player, because notice how much better the Spurs have got as Kawhi has gotten. The season they won the championship, Kawhi got considerably better the season before that, from the season before that season. This season now, after the seasons after the championship, he's playing his best basketball, and it just so happens the Spurs are having their best season that they've had in a long time. But
you don't feel like the Warriors got better as Steph Curry's gotten better?
No, but that's what I'm saying. No, I'm saying
after LeBron's gotten better.
No, that's what, and that's my case though. That's my case for Kawhi. Why do we say this stuff for Steph? You're saying it for Steph and LeBron, but you won't say it for Kawhi.
You didn't even say it for Westbrook and stuff.
No, I'm saying, but look at the guys we're listing. They get the respect. Kawhi's not getting the same respect. You keep telling me there's caveats to Kawhi, but you won't tell me there's caveats for a Westbrook. You won't tell me there's caveats
for Westbrook is he plays with Durant. The caveat for LeBron is he won championships with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. The caveats for Steph is he played with Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala.
Yeah, but you weren't listening to any of those until I just brought up the caveats.
Playing for Pop and playing for LaMarcus Aldridge and Tim Duncan and these are all Hall of Famers. I'm naming like
they all are older too. They're all older. Like Kawhi, like he said, you're right. They're all older. Tim Duncan's not the Tim Duncan that was the Tim Duncan a few years ago. Let's not get it twisted. Now I mean, the man came off the bench yesterday and his minutes are considerably limited. I mean, there's a lot of players that play. Tim Duncan averages about 20-something minutes a game. I mean, Greg Popovich does great with his minutes restriction, but just because these guys are names, let's not act like they are the same guys that they were in their prime.
You can say the same with LeBron. The only person who's still the same in the prime was Chris Bosh. Dwayne Wade was not the same Dwayne Wade.
No, Dwayne Wade was not. Dwayne Wade could still put up 20. He can still put up 20.
Tony Parker and Tim Duncan.
What does Tim Duncan average on the season? Dwayne Wade averaged 20 on the season. Dwayne Wade didn't average under 20, and he shot over 50% his whole time with LeBron. Dwayne Wade was hurt.
It's not the same as it's not the same as the Flash. He was not. If you seriously say he was the same as the Flash,
what are you talking about?
I'm saying LeBron. Look, when LeBron James played with Dwayne Wade, he was not the Flash like he was when he won with Shaq.
He was not. No, he was not that Flash. But Dwayne Wade was still good enough. Dwayne Wade was still a top 15 player. But that team. But that Tony Parker,
who had a big laugh.
Tony Parker is still a good player, but he's not the Tony Parker that was running. That team is not revolved around Tony Parker anymore. A few years ago, they were revolved around Tony Parker. Now they're revolved around LaMarcus Aldridge and Kawhi Leonard. They're not revolved around them anymore. Those guys are still there. They're the leadership and the leader.
Dwayne Wade.
Because the difference between that and Dwayne Wade is that team with the pecking order was LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. This pecking order is Kawhi, LaMarcus Aldridge, Tony Parker, whoever else. And then after that, it's just a spur. It doesn't even go to Tim Duncan and whoever. It's whoever is hot that night. It doesn't matter. But those guys are the pecking order of the Spurs. While in Miami, you had LeBron, them, and them. And just like in the Golden State, it's Steph, it's Clay, then it's Draymond or whoever else is hot that night. Right after that.
So what's the difference?
What do you mean? What's the difference? I just gave you because you're bringing up that he's playing with Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and these guys, and I'm telling you, Tim Duncan's not.
You're saying like they're bad players, but I mean,
I didn't say
every player has a decline.
When did I say they were bad?
When
did I say they were bad?
You're not giving them their credit. That's what you're really not doing right. You're not really giving them their credit because yeah, they're older. Yeah, they're playing with Kawhi Leonard, but it's not this. You're saying it's not the same. You can sit here and say that's for any team.
So
except the Warriors.
Playing with Tim Duncan was the same as LeBron playing with.
It's more than Tim Duncan on that team. You have Tim Duncan, you have Tony Parker, you have Manu Ginobili, you have Danny Green. You had LeBron, you had Chris Bosh, and you had Dwayne Wade. I'm not gonna put Mario Chalmers in that category. I'm not gonna put Chris Anderson in that category. I'm not gonna put who else was on the team. Who was the point guard coming off the bench for them?
Norris Cole.
I'm not gonna put Norris Cole in that category. I'm not gonna put Michael Beasley when he played in that category. You see what I'm saying? I'm not gonna put those same guys in those same categories.
So what is your argument right now?
I'm saying that you're discrediting that he's like Kawhi Leonard playing with them. Like they're not because they're new players. You're not giving Tim Duncan his credit. You're not giving like Tony Parker really his credit. But I'm saying you can say like when LeBron played with them, it's not really like he like.
But they're not.
I'm saying it's the same thing with LeBron. These players got better. He was like, well, they got better and they made the team better, but look who they play with in a sense. And you're talking about how declined these guys are. That Kawhi Leonard is not. They're playing better because Kawhi Leonard is that much better. When I'm trying to make the case for Steph Curry and LeBron James.
But you're making the case that
You're saying you said Kawhi Leonard. You said the Spurs is a lot better because Kawhi Leonard got better, right?
Yes.
And I can say the same with because you're like Tony Parker is not the same Tony Parker. You're saying Tim Duncan not the same Tim Duncan. Manu Ginobili not the same Tim Manu Ginobili. Well, as LeBron got better in his career, even though he played for the Heat, I can still say Dwayne Wade was not still the same player. Chris Bosh, yes, Chris Bosh probably he wasn't even the same as he was in Toronto because he had to do as much. And then those other players, those other role players, was not that good.
Okay, well, here's the thing about your case, because when I talk about Kawhi making them better, Kawhi, they have gotten considerably better with Kawhi, and that's the thing I'm saying. My case is not that LeBron did not make that team better, that Steph hasn't made the team better as he's gotten better. I said that beforehand. I said Russell Westbrook was the same way, but I said the reason I'm asking why Kawhi deserves more respect is because before you would list Tim Duncan, these guys, and all this and that before you would list Kawhi even having an impact. But then when you want to come to LeBron and them, you will say it's them primarily over these other guys. And LeBron didn't win a championship until he played with Dwayne Wade. And Dwayne Wade averaged over 20 each of those seasons. Kawhi's been playing with Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan hasn't averaged over 20 in how many years? And you can say the same for Tony Parker. And the same for Manu.
Who averages 20 on that team, honestly, other than Kawhi Leonard?
Does Tim Duncan even Marcus Aldridge? Marcus Aldridge averaged about 19, 20 points. 20. That's still, bro. It's so 19.8.
I'm about to pull it up right now.
Pull it up. And Marcus Aldridge still averages. I'd be surprised if Marcus Aldridge averages under 17 points actually. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, LeBron had. But the fact that proves my point.
He averages 17 points per game.
Yeah, I said I'd be surprised he averages under 17.
You play on it was 18, 17.9. But you play on a team that nobody's supposed to average 20.
So then what about Klay Thompson and then Draymond? So what's the case for them? It's the same effect. If you want to talk about, it's the same effect. It's the same system because Steph is the one guy that averages over. Everybody says it. They play them and San Antonio play the exact same way. It's just that they shoot more threes and that San Antonio shoots more twos. That's honestly the difference between the two teams. That they're more efficient at 3-point shooting. San Antonio is the most efficient 2-point shooting team. Golden State's the most efficient 3-point shooting team. That's the difference between these two teams. Everybody talks about their offenses are similar because of the free flow offense they both run. And if you want to talk about that, nobody on Golden State, apart from maybe Steph, I think Klay averages about 18, 19 points a game. I mean, actually, probably averages 20. I think Klay's the one person averages 20, but Klay's in his prime. Other than that, who else averages above? You know what I'm saying? Like, if we're gonna make that case for, like, we're making all these. I'm hearing all these cases you're making to knock down to take away the credit from Kawhi because this team has gotten better as Kawhi has gotten there. As Kawhi has gotten better, they won their last championship with Kawhi. Before Kawhi, the last championship was 2007, and they've gotten to the finals. They got to the finals back-to-back times as Kawhi Leonard got better. They went to the Western Conference Finals. They got knocked out by the Clippers actually in the first round, I believe, last year, and then. But then the year before that, they were the champions. And this year, now they have arguably they're having. If it wasn't for Golden State, we'd be talking about the Spurs having. I mean, the Spurs only have 10 losses on the season.
And they're only 3 games behind them.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They're only three games behind. So the fact that we're like, you're making these cases against Kawhi is my point of how he's not getting respect for his grades. Because even though LeBron had Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, those guys were still some of the top 15. Tim Duncan's not a top 15 player in the league anymore. He's not a top 15 player. Manu Ginobili's not. Tony Parker's amazing. I mean, there's actually a lot of guys I can list that are better than Tony Parker right now. Actually, even point guards that I can list that are better than Tony Parker that even feel that might run out the top 10 actually. So the fact Kawhi Leonard is the only guy on that team right now that I say is even a top 10 that you can argue as a top 5 player, and he could even be better if he was in a system where he was more likely to shoot the ball more. And if a small forward, if we talk about the best small forwards after LeBron James and Kevin Durant, who we listing?
Kawhi.
So I'm listening to Paul. You saw a small forward. I listen to Paul George.
Paul George. All right. That's your opinion. I'm just curious. Why Paul George?
As one of the top small forwards?
As top 3 small forwards, why Paul George? I'm just curious.
You said LeBron James, Kevin Durant.
I mean, obviously those two are going to be everybody's one and two. But why?
And
why
who else do you have other than Kawhi Leonard and Paul George?
Draymond Green, Carmelo Anthony.
Better than Kawhi.
Because Carmelo Anthony had a big slack. He's.
But I mean, those are other small forwards you can list. I mean, there's Paul George, Carmelo Anthony, Kawhi Leonard, Draymond Green. There's other small forwards at least. At least fill with small forwards.
Is he?
I'm just curious why you think Paul George is better than Kawhi Leonard.
I didn't say. I just said. I'm just saying you can't think of people to list.
You just told me you would take Paul.
I said. You said you can't say names of the list. I mean, I never said he was better. I mean, I think he's better personally, but I'm not gonna say he's better.
Yeah. So what do you say, exactly. Bro? You just said it. Yeah. Like, what are you talking
because
about?
I'm biased when it comes to Paul George.
What do you mean?
So that's why I'm gonna say he's better.
You're biased because he's on your 2K team.
I think he's the best.
What?
I think he's the best two-way player in the game, honestly.
Paul George, eh?
Paul George.
Man, why do you think he's the best?
Because
Paul George actually his defense has fallen off. Actually,
his defense has fallen off.
So how's he the best? I mean, don't put him up.
You make it seem like
he's leading the league in defensive efficiency. That's why I'm really curious. I'm really curious right now. Yeah, if a guy's is one of the top players in defensive efficiency, and the other guy isn't even in the top 10 for defensive efficiency, I'm really curious. I just want to know.
I mean, my man's bone came out his leg. I mean,
it's called a comeback. Come back, young fella. I mean, the boy's young. Give me something else.
You make it seem like that's not going to affect somebody dropping off. I mean,
Dwayne Wade.
Kevin Ware had to transfer school.
Dwayne Wade's knee at the his shoulder popped out. His shoulder popped out.
My man's bone was a sword, bro.
It was a sword, but I mean, your shoulder becoming a sword is kind of dangerous too, isn't it?
Shoulder wasn't.
And Dwayne Wade still came back and balled. So I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for a reason. I'm waiting for a reason. Give me something.
Well, I told you.
I'm looking at the numbers right now.
I just told you.
I'm looking at the numbers right now.
Paul George. I'm biased when it comes to Paul George.
No, without bias. Stop being biased. Stop.
It's got to be objective.
Yeah, exactly. Stop being biased.
Objective, then this year he has not, because this is the second season coming off from that OD injury he had.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just saying. You said you can't name small forwards, so I wanted to tell my man Paul George. You can't discredit my man Paul George.
No, I'm not discrediting Paul George, but we're talking about him and Kawhi Leonard. I'm not discrediting Paul George. I'm just talking about him and Kawhi Leonard. And I'm saying, you see how the lengths you're going to. You see the lengths he's going to bring down Kawhi Leonard. The lengths. Kawhi Leonard, bro. Kawhi, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you because the lengths this man is going to disrespect you as a defender. And as an offensive player, this man shoots better than Paul George in every statistical category.
Because Paul George is by himself, really. You have Monte Ellis, who's not the same.
Bruh. Just because you're by yourself doesn't mean you shoot inefficiently. Kevin Durant still shoots over 50%. I mean, even without Russell Westbrook, when Russell Westbrook went out, you didn't let me finish. Okay. If you let me finish talking, I would gladly. I was quiet. I sat there.
You were quiet.
I was quiet. Let you make your case.
Until you heard the blasphemy.
Yeah, until you say blasphemy. I haven't said any bit of blasphemy. I didn't say any bit of blasphemy. That's the thing. You like I'm sitting here just waiting. You talk. No. I'm quiet the whole time. I sat here and listened to your whole case. We can watch this video playback. I sat there. I was like this. Go back and listen. Go back and watch past videos. I sit there. I listen. I'm just sitting there patient. Khalid, you know what? You're a host on this show too.
Khalid, never forget when I tried to do the top 10 of all time. And my man smoothed it. Let me finish my top 10.
Khalid, what did we say? What did we say the criteria was? Blasphemy? Never forget when I was listening, when we were talking about if Steph Curry was the best shooter. So he's trying to cut me off now. I just waited for him to finish. And he's cutting me off now. I'm waiting for him.
I don't y'all trying to talk at the same time. Y'all got it.
No, I waited for you. I waited for you to take a breath and everything. I waited. I sat there. I was like this. I was looking at you. Then he stopped. So I tried to take my initiative, and he tried to jump back on me. You see that? Never forget when Rashad, we were listening to if Steph Curry was the best shooter of all time, which we should get to sometime soon again. This man Rashad would not let me make a case for Steph. He just kept saying, no. A commenter even noted it. A commenter. That's when you know it's real. But somebody that's not even involved comments and notes it.
That's funny.
Come on, man. Come on. I didn't get no comments. Ain't nobody. Hey. You know what? Talking about me cutting somebody off. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Hey, the proof is in the pudding.
Hey, the proof is in the pudding.
You remember that?
Hey, wait, what?
That's the Stephen A. Smith interview with Mayweather.
Oh, come on, man.
That's respect.
Just give my man Kawhi his respect.
Yeah.
I don't care about my respect. You cut me off all I want. I'm gonna say what I gotta say eventually. You know what I'm saying? Just let Kawhi get his turn. Hey, like Kawhi said, let me finish. Hey, Taylor, I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce, hey, Kawhi saying, hey, Rashad, I'm gonna let you finish. But it's like, hey, give me my respect. That's all Kawhi's asking for. That's all Kawhi's asking for.
Is a top 10 player in the league. Let me give you respect. He's a top 10 player in the league. As long as he plays on the Spurs and that team wins a championship, he will always win the Finals MVP. But he would not win the league MVP.
That's to be seen. I would agree with you that, but I can't guarantee somebody's gonna win the MVP because we could say Russell Westbrook was looking like an MVP. A lot of people pick Russell Westbrook before the season to win MVP. Russell Westbrook is a player you would pick to win the MVP, right?
I mean, last
but
he's not.
Russell Westbrook. They did, but Russell Westbrook's team didn't reflect their success.
I don't think Russell Westbrook will win a championship on the Thunder. I mean,
but do you think he could win? Do you think he could win? So who do you think is more likely to win MVP? Kawhi Leonard or Russell Westbrook?
In the same situation they are now?
Yeah. Just the projecting how these players' projections are going. Who do you think is more likely to win MVP? Kawhi Leonard or Russell Westbrook?
I don't know.
I'm voting Kawhi. I'm voting Kawhi. I'm voting Kawhi. This man Rashad is not bumping with Kawhi. He just don't rock with Kawhi.
He does the same thing.
Hey, we are entitled to our opinions.
Westbrook is getting better at the same time.
He is, but it hasn't reflected on his team.
Their team isn't better than the Spurs team.
But I mean, it's just Kawhi doesn't do enough for me. A team full of stars to. I mean, can you look at it?
But maybe it's that team full of stars that makes him do less. That's the reason why he chooses to do less.
I mean, imagine so much more he could do.
With, like Steph Curry, I mean, I'm sure Steph Curry doesn't try to score 30 every night.
Steph Curry also hoists a whole bunch of threes. I mean,
but the whole team.
And he's efficient from three. Yeah. He's efficient from three. So he shoots.
How many threes he put up?
But I mean, both of them are efficient from three.
No, but let's look at the attempts here. Steph attempts 7.1 threes a game
times 3.
Kawhi attempts 2.9.
And see,
actually no. Kawhi attempts 4. Kawhi attempts 4. That was career. My fault.
And this is why I told you back when we made that case. It's easier for Steph Curry to shoot a higher position because it's a lot easier to go 1 for 3. I mean,
it's not.
It is.
No, it's not. You can. It's easier to shoot 50% from 3.
I'm gonna say it's easier to go 3 for 10 than it is to go 1 for 3.
No, it's not. You can easily go 1 for. You can easily shoot 1 for 2 and shoot 50%.
That's what I'm saying.
That's easier to shoot 50%.
No, that's not because it's 33%.
No, you're making a case that Steph's shooting more.
That's not easy.
Yeah, what are you talking about? That's why Steph is the best shooter. Your case to me then was that Steph was not the best shooter because Steph was shooting the most.
It's easier to go 3 for 10 than 1 for 3.
You know that's 30%.
No, it's not. All you gotta do is hit. Yeah. That's a better percentage.
30%.
Yeah, that's a better percentage. What are you talking about?
Shoot 10 shots to get 33%, college.
No, but that's still 30%.
But Steph, that's not easy to do. Steph is you can shoot less shots and be way more efficient.
But you know I can go out if I shoot 10 threes.
And you can also
hit 3, but if I shoot the first 3 threes, I'm more likely to miss.
You can also go out and shoot 3 threes, hit all 3, and you shoot 100% for the game. Where Steph might shoot 10.
Versus
so that's way harder to do. It's way harder. Yes, it is. Shooting way more volume shots.
If we bring this case up, I'm still gonna make the same case.
You can make the same case, but it's statistically wrong.
It's not statistically
wrong. Yes, it is. Like,
it's a lot easier to hit 3 out of 10.
It's not easy. You take 3 shots, you shoot 1 out of 3, you shoot 33% right there. If you shoot 3 out of 10, you're already shooting a lesser field goal percentage.
If you're Steph Curry and you shoot 10 shots and you can't hit 3 of them, come on now, you're an NBA player.
No, but that's not the argument. The argument is whether it's easier to shoot a higher percentage from shooting less shots than higher volume of shots. No, it is not.
It is
a higher percentage. You make
a higher volume of shots does not result in it doesn't.
It doesn't.
No, you can shoot less shots. Just like you can shoot 4 free throws, you shoot 100% from free throw line. Somebody shoots 10 free throws and shoots 5 of 10. They're gonna have a 50% free throw. But they hit more free throws than the other guy. Yeah, even though they made more, their free throw percentage is gonna be less.
Why are they missing so many? Why can this first miss?
You know what?
Why are they missing so many? Why can the other person? Why the person go for 4?
Okay, hold on. Okay, if they miss 1,
no, I'm saying I just gave you a case where they went 1 of 3. What are you talking about?
1 for 3 is easy. It's not easier.
2 of 5 is even better than 3 of 10, and that's double the shots. Shooting more shots is not. What?
I'm saying if Steph Curry shot 3 threes a game, Steph Curry percentage wouldn't be where it is because Curry's not going 3 for 3 every night.
If he shot 3 threes,
I see Steph Curry
because he's trying to get 30 points.
If Steph Curry shot 3 threes, I'm pretty sure they'd probably be higher efficient shots.
What are you talking about in the game?
If he only shot 3,
I mean, if he only shoots 3s, I mean, the reason why Steph's shots,
he's just not gonna get 30 points. Well, he might. He might not get.
I would love to see this on poll because I did not see how. I mean, we just both statistically gave you reasons of how it's not high.
With you.
No.
He
gave you the 1 of 3. Yeah, he just gave you the 1 of 3, the 3 of 10. He's been saying more stats than I have.
Oh my, no.
I'm just on the truth.
I can go shoot 10 shots and hit 3.
But that's 30%.
And you can also go and shoot 1 of 3.
You can't shoot 33% on shooting 10
Of
shots.
course
That's what I'm
not.
trying to say. So stop saying because it's
But look,
30%.
You can shoot 9
it'd be different
shots.
if you would have
You
said
can shoot
made
9
4
Shoot 9
shots.
shots. It is easier to hit 3
But it would have been different if you would have said
No, it
they
is
shot
not.
4 shots.
Rashad, if you're taking
40% higher than 33 then.
Rashad, if you're taking
But
3,
you only did 3 attempts.
I'm
go
just
ahead.
trying
I'm
to
gonna
say.
let y'all do it. Go ahead.
I'm just trying to
Y'all
say,
saying.
if you're in the 30% range, you can only shoot 3 for 10 is a lot easier to hit.
Haven't gotten to
than-
Richard Sherman yet.
3 for 10.
Go to Richard Sherman.
10
man.
to 10.
Go to Richard Sherman. He's talking about.
No, man, I'm not gonna cut my man
No,
Khaled's
I'll cut
argument
both
off.
of them.
No,
I'll
man,
cut
let
me off.
Khaled
You
go
think that's
on,
smart?
man. Khaled, go
You think
on.
that's-
Khaled, go
Come
on.
on,
Make
you
a
think
case.
that's
Yeah,
easier
make a case, Khaled. I want to
Then
hear
3
this.
then
Yeah,
1
go
for-
ahead.
1 for 3.
Khaled, if you go in the gym right now and I give you 10 shots, you can hit 3 of them, right?
I-
If I told you to hit
Okay.
3, if I told you to shoot 3 shots, you have to hit 1 of them. Is that a lot more pressure?
If
than
I make
than-
those first 3 in both of them, in both situations,
what's the chances of hitting the first 3?
I mean, it's the chances
What's
are
the
the same
chances-
for both of them.
Yeah.
No, it's a lot easier. Going 3 for 3 and,
Right,
going, and 3 for 10.
The only
Going-
difference is you keep shooting after the first 3.
It is the same for no, but I'm saying he has a 30. For him to go 1 out of 3 is a 33% chance. For him to go 3 of 10 is a 30% chance. He
Because he
has a
kept
higher
shooting.
statistical percentage to go 1 of 3 than those 30%.
Because you
It's
can't-
the-
okay, so if
what-
you go 3 for 9, then now it's the same.
It isn't, but that's more.
So it's the
I don't
same
understand.
now.
But he still did the same as you
still have
on
9
1 of
shots.
3. Rashad,
still have 9
what
shots.
on earth?
Still have 9 shots.
Rashad, he still tied your field goal percentage
So, are
with
you
less
so- are-
shots.
Yeah.
Wait. Are you supporting the case for it's easier to hit 1 for 3?
Yes.
Oh, thank you then. Because
Wait, what?
I'm showing you that listen to the case now. Listen to the case now. Now, because I actually realize what you're saying now. Listen to the case. This shows that Reggie Miller is a better shooter than Steph Curry.
No, it does not.
Because they shoot
The
less
fact-
and they shoot efficient too.
The fact that
Steph
they
Curry has-
shoot.
Steph Curry has a greater chance to get the percentage.
Because he has more fish.
Are you done? Are you done?
But
Are you done? Are you done?
No, I'm never done.
Are you-
I'm never done.
Okay, say what you
No,
gotta
go
say.
ahead, go
Yeah,
ahead.
say what you gotta
I
say.
gotta cut you off.
I'm just waiting.
You gotta
Go
cut
ahead.
it off.
I'm like,
I gotta cut you
so
off.
funny.
so it's like I just said, it's easier to go 1 of 3, right? So Reggie Miller goes 1 of 3, it's easy. But Steph Curry does a harder job, but shoots a better
Don't
percentage
change
than
this
them.
argument. No,
Yeah.
support Reggie Miller like you just supported. No,
What
What are you talking about?
Support Reggie Miller like you just supported.
What is he talking
So you-
about? I just
so
made
him
the
going-
same case.
Support Reggie
Hold on,
Miller
him
like you
going
just
11
supported.
for
I
14
did.
Don't
No,
change it
game.
now.
but the case we make. No, I'm saying it is easier to go 1 of 3, but that's what Reggie Miller did.
Yeah.
When Steph Curry still shoots a higher percentage than him, so Steph's a better shooter.
No, you
What
just
is your
shoot a lot more
point?
shots.
Bro,
What
if
is
you're going
this?
for 14
What is
attempts
this?
and making
No,
11
no.
out of it.
See, now you just trying to jump on my. You trying to, and I flipped it back on you. Now you don't know what to do. You're confused.
Because I do.
Man,
Remember, I was making
man,
the case for Reggie Miller and
Get outta
people like
here.
Larry Bird that they're better shooters than Steph Curry.
But they're not
Steph
because
Curry
they
can shoot a
shot
lot
less.
more
They
shots.
don't put as much shots.
They can shoot a lot more shots. Hey,
But
I'm just saying they shoot a lot more
They
shots.
They
shoot
shoot
percentage is
a
higher.
yeah. How does he have a higher field goal percentage and 3-point percentage when he shoots more shots? So it's harder for him to hit a higher
Mhm.
percentage, and they
Harder
shoot
to hit
less.
3 for 3
They
than
shoot
hit
less.
3 for
It
10.
is easier. No, don't change it now. You're just trying to
That's
make a
what I'm
case.
saying.
You're just trying to make a
It's easier to
case.
hit 3 for 10.
No, you just trying to jump on the Reggie Miller bandwagon saying that
No,
it's easier to go.
No.
It's
Go back to our best shows.
go back
That
to
shows.
go back
I
to the.
told you Steph Curry wasn't the best shooter.
And you try. But here's the thing.
And this is
When-
the
when-
case I made.
Here's the thing. We just made the case that 1 of 3 was easier, and then you're like, oh, it's easy. You're making the case it's easier, right? It's easier, right? So then what about Reggie Miller? Blah, blah, blah. And I just made the case to you that Steph's a better shooter because he does a harder job getting a high 3-point percentage.
Sherman
than them
and
two.
Roger Goodell.
You just can't.
Richard Sherman
Yo,
and Roger Goodell.
See, this what makes the show different because you know what? You just got guys. You got guys that just won't change their minds. That's it. Sometimes you can sway them, sometimes you can't. You know what I'm saying? Even though we statistically have proven
Reggie
our
Miller's
point,
better shooter.
statistically have proven our
Numbers
point.
don't lie.
You know what I'm saying? Then, hey,
Reggie
the nu-
Miller,
my brother.
Ray Allen.
Numbers don't lie.
Larry
Exactly.
Bird.
The numbers don't lie. Even though they shot less threes and still don't have as high a field goal of 3-point percentage as Steph, I rest my
It's
case.
easier to hit
No, it's not.
when you
It's
shoot
not.
a higher volume of shots.
It's not. It's harder.
Then you can
And,
easily
and
go
Steph
0
and
for
Steph
3.
even takes harder shots.
I mean, how
but-
often do you see Steph go 0 for 10?
How often do you see Steph go 1 for 12? Did it yesterday? How often do you see
How often do
somebody
you
go?
see Reggie Miller go 0
1
for
for
6 in a
3?
game? You've seen that happen before.
How? I mean, it's
Yeah, he never hit a 3.
You said what?
He didn't hit the 3. I'm just saying.
Who?
Reggie Miller. I'm just saying he went over 6 in games. I'm just saying. Just like you said, Steph
And
go 1
Steph
for 12.
has obviously gone over something because there's a reason why he has a streak of 138 of consistent threes hit, but that streak definitely didn't continue. There's a reason why the streak started somewhere and didn't end. Steph has played more than 138 games in the league, so
Because
obviously he's gone 3-less in a game.
Yeah.
So
What does
there's
hitting
your
1-3 gotta
case.
do?
There's your point. So what was your
What
point?
does hitting 1-3 got to do with you being the best shooter?
You just
I can go
every single time you make a case, I flip it back on you. Then you try to go on some Subway network to
come
Subway
a
network.
game and have a streak going.
No,
I
man.
just keep checking.
No, but your case was
That's crazy.
That's what Steph did.
You just try to make the case.
Crazy.
You just try to make the case.
Ruin you.
You just try to make the case saying that
I'll
Steph.
shoot every shot at 3-pointer, make sure I keep the streak going. I'm cutting you off.
Well, you're gonna hurt your 3-point percentage.
So it's a streak. Keep the streak alive.
You just try to make the case that Steph, because Steph could go. He's shooting so many threes that he can go one of whatever. But I just made a case that he's obviously missed all his 3-point attempts.
This is not the
at one
topic of
point.
the day. This is
And
then,
then-
for another time. Bring this up later.
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
Steph Curry.
I'm just
saying.
I'm just saying. We just had to bring it up because you wanted to come from my man Kawhi Leonard and his 3-point percentage. I'm just saying, Kawhi, I got respect,
But I'm
bro.
just saying
I give you
he's
love.
about to go 50, 40, and 90. Steph is not Kawhi.
Okay.
50, 40, and 90.
Okay.
50 from the field, 40 from 3-pointer, 90 from free throw line.
Kawhi's right there. I mean,
Yeah, he's 80.
shooting a higher percentage than
He
Steph.
doesn't have it right now. I mean, he doesn't have those. He doesn't have those right now. Yeah, he's not talking about Steph Kawhi Leonard doing it. It's Steph Curry doing it.
Yeah,
It's only because he's scoring more.
It's not nothing.
no, it's because his field goal
Yeah,
percentage.
that's true too.
All right, so going to the last topic of the day, we're going to switch gears into the NFL and talk about arguably one of the best cornerbacks in the game right now. My man, Richard Sherman, the Seattle Seahawks, who recently actually was elected to the NFL Player Association's executive committee, and he previously served as the Seahawks union rep, but he recently had some, quite, controversial comments about Roger Goodell, you could say, when asked about, the Roger Goodell's rule proposal to eject players after they commit 2 personal fouls in a game. This is what Richard Sherman had to say about it. He said, "I think it's foolish, but it sounds like something somebody who's never played the game would say, something that they would suggest because he doesn't understand. He's just a face. He's just a suit. He's never stepped foot on the field and understood how you can get a personal foul." And then when asked about the catching rules later on, he said, because you got a bunch of suits doing it, when he was asked about the catching rule. Like I said before, you don't have a bunch of guys. Let Jerry Rice and Michael Irvin talk about it for about 20 to 30 minutes. Maybe Chris Carter, Randy Moss, let those guys have a roundtable discussion about what a catch should be and come up for rule. I guarantee you it'd be more effective than the rule they have now because those are the pass catchers. Those are some of the best pass catchers we've had. I think it'd be more straightforward and to the point. You've got a bunch of guys who have never played. They probably never touched a football except to hold it out or to shake somebody's hand or to take a picture, but they've never played the game.
That's a big test.
So what do you all think about his comments about Roger Goodell and just the rules that we have in place right now, the proposed rules? Carlos, let's start with you. What do you think?
Well, one thing that Richard Sherman that's a big testament to say that they have never touched the football or they've never been on the field. Well, I'd say even if they haven't touched the football, what do you think?
My man Kupchak even said even great free throw shooters usually go 9 of 10 from the line, bound to mess up something in your shot at some point. When you only shoot 4 shots, it's easier to hit them all.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And just like somebody, and then the Jersey guy said, just like in baseball, you can have less bats and less at bats and have a higher batting average.
Yeah.
Thank you, y'all. Continue, Khalid.
You can. The word is can.
Continue.
Anyways, Richard Sherman. It's a big testament to his say that these people have never touched the football, never been on the football field. You would think that the National Football League commissioner would know a little thing or two about football. So that's a huge testament to say that just guys in suits and they never touch the football unless they hand them out or they shaking hands or whatever. I mean, they're doing it for player safety. They don't want a personal foul. Is one that's a foul that's like it shouldn't. It's definitely in harm for the other player. So you can't to constantly have those personal fouls is questionable. It's questionable for with your intentions in the game. You're not trying to hurt the other players. You're just trying to play the game and hope that and get your team to score. The ways that you do it, you can't be intentionally trying to hurt a player. So I understand the 2 personal fouls thing. I mean, it would help if they had that round table with Jerry Rice and so forth, of the best wide receivers, because they do have experience with catching and stuff like that, and they know what catches are, and they have that clear understanding of that for the catching, for the thing that they consider catches. So I do think that Richard Sherman had a couple of points that were definitely good points, but for him to say that they just people in suits. That's a big argument.
All right, Rashad, what do you think?
My man Richard Sherman's a savage for what he said, because those are fighting words. He's not gonna tell me I ain't played the game.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because Roger Goodell did play. So to sit here and say you never played football in your life, man, you don't know what you're talking about. That's fighting words. But I mean, I understand where he's coming from, but I don't agree with the 2 personal fouls. I mean, it's not often you have 2 personal fouls for the same player in the game anyway. But I just feel like emotions came out, which made Richard Sherman say what he wanted to say, because he's tired. Like everybody in the league is tired of all these rule changes. They're tired of everything happening to the league. They just want to play football. They're tired of everything. You're making it more difficult for the players to just enjoy the game. Like now they have to do so much to be so cautious to play the game. And I'm sure like Richard Sherman thinks he got to be so much more cautious that it's going to risk my health now being a defensive player, because I'm thinking about what I have to do and all this stuff like that, because all these rule changes you're making. And at the same time, I'm just getting ran over by the running back because I got to make sure I can't hit him in a certain way or something like that. And I can't, you're saying you're taking away the showboating part. Like, you trash talking people. You can't even trash talk no more. Like, that's getting crazy. Like, to the point that's what makes the game interesting. Like competition. Now you want everybody to be all friendly on the field. And is that now about his Rams type of discussion? He forgot one important name to put on that list. And that's the great Des Bryant in there, because he had that catch and that would have took us to the NFC Championship, eventually took us to the Super Bowl to win another Super Bowl, because that's what would have happened. So you need to have him at the great round table, but not. But my point is, I just have to include his name, because I know Sierra Brennan here thinking about something like you're talking nonsense. But I don't think that. And overall, you should have like players make the rules, because then you might see stuff like, well, I mean, technically I still caught even though it hit the ground or something like that. Ground didn't help me. I just have great hands. Yes, you have stuff like that happening, and then you will have controversial plays that happen in the game where you'll be like, well, that shouldn't have been a catch, but since these receivers made these rules, they're rules now.
So the people that specialize in the technical side.
I mean, like the people who make the rules. I mean, they do their jobs, and I mean, obviously we've seen them done efficiently until they start making all these rule changes now. But for Richard Sherman to say like, yeah, these dudes just suit and ties, that's kind of disrespectful.
Yeah,
I can agree that it is kind of, it can be disrespectful to him. I mean, that is your commissioner. At the end of the day, that's commissioner of
your boss.
That's your boss.
Of the entire NFL.
Of the entire NFL.
I think he knows anything or two about football.
To just say he's just a suit is kind of crazy. But I do think he has a point when he says that these guys making the rules, some of them really haven't played. And it's not like Roger Goodell makes up all these rules. There are some people that in these rules conferences that make these rules and haven't played. So to tell a guy you're going to get ejected. So say somebody gets a helmet-to-helmet hit, a flag on one play. And I don't know what they're determined by personal fouls, but if you're telling me that personal fouls is equivalent to 2 penalties, if you get a
personal fouls are like your helmet-to-helmet contact, and then that goes into like, if you say a cuss word,
like what you call it,
stuff like that.
But see,
unnecessary roughness.
Unnecessary roughness is a personal foul.
And the hit after play.
Yeah.
Late hit,
okay. So say you get an unnecessary roughness, or you get a helmet-to-helmet hit or unnecessary roughness, right? And then you hit a guy you don't even intend it. You're a hard-hitting team like the Seahawks. You're a Cam Chancellor. You hit guy. You're known for hitting guys hard, and you get a helmet-to-helmet contact hit. And so you were more likely to get ejected than a guy that doesn't hit as hard as somebody. You know what I mean? And then, especially if you're an expressive player, you might get a flag for taunting or whatever when you don't even feel as though you were taunting. So some people would view Cam Newton's dance as a taunting as taunting, so that could possibly draw a flag. But when you start making it so these guys get ejected for this, you're just like, so you're taking out all the inequities of the game. I mean, you're adding even higher stakes for these guys to have to worry about. Like, you have to worry about getting ejected now. Like, my helmet contact, yes, I was gonna get a 15-yard penalty or whatever, but now I gotta worry about getting kicked out of the game now, even though I try to slow myself down. Now, see, those kind of things that I can see Richard Sherman's standpoint, but I also see the NFL's view on it, because sometimes guys might be like, hey, because I want to get ejected, I know I can do this and we can afford the 15 yards. Like when you hear a statement like Akeem Talib made about what he did in the Super Bowl when he got those intentional penalties on himself early in the game. That's a personal foul. So you look at those things. Would he make those same plays if you possibly could get ejected for those same personal
Didn't
fouls?
Ndamukong Suh do the same thing?
Ndamukong Suh gets personal fouls all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Ndamukong Suh is the walking poster boy of personal fouls.
Oh yeah, he's about to get ejected plenty of games with this goal.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I understand with that. Now with the catching, I think you should have some players. Well, I think on both fronts, you should have some players that have played to make some of these rules, because I mean you can talk about, you can watch it. I mean, I don't believe the fact that when all the players say that you always need to play to fully understand how the game works and everything. Mm-hmm. But to a degree, they understand the game in a way that people that haven't played don't understand it. You know what I mean? So there should be some players on these rules committees or on these boards that discuss these rules. There should be way more. I don't think it should be all players, but there should be a way more majority of players that are able to, put in their bids for rules. Like what he was saying about the catches. Some of these catches, I saw some catches last season that I was just like, I don't even know what qualifies anymore. You don't even know what qualifies as a catch anymore. So they need to come up with something that's a distinct qualified rule. And I'm not even going to address Rashad putting Des Bryant in that class of Chris Carter. Randy
That's not
Moss,
that class of great receivers. It's the class of who got robbed from a catch. Like him and Megatron should be.
You said who should be included on this round table.
Yeah.
Des Bryant, but he listed receivers that really have had Hall of Fame careers. Their career's already done.
Terrell Owens needs to be on that list.
And you can make that case too. Even though he did drop a lot of catches himself. But
so discredit greatness because he dropped passes.
I didn't say he wasn't great. I just said, did I say he wasn't great?
I mean, everybody drops passes.
Everybody does drop passes.
I get defensive over my great receivers to play for Cowboys.
I noticed you did, but I never said he wasn't great, did I? I was on the same show a few weeks ago saying Terrell Owens should have been in the Hall of Fame, didn't I?
No,
exactly.
I'm not supporting you here.
You don't got to support me. It's just facts.
Ain't buddies out here.
That's fine. It's facts. You don't got to be buddies for my facts to be straight, right?
Yeah, you do.
I'm saying.
They facts are just opinions.
You say yeah, they do.
They ain't facts no more. They opinions.
So if we go back and watch the footage from weeks ago when we talked about Terrell Owens on the show, it's going to be an opinion that I said.
Buddies, they opinions.
You know what, guys? We're going to wrap it up for today's show. It's been KBR Sports, the best sports talk show of your 24-hour day, coming to you on WOD Studios, the best in college radio. Follow us on our KBR Sports Twitter page at KBR_sports, where you can see our updates for each show and the topics we tweet before each show. And also subscribe to our KBR Sports YouTube channel at KBR Sports. And also listen to us on Rabble, YouTube, and Spreaker, and on iTunes. Make sure you guys listen to us on all that. And make sure y'all comment and tweet us your opinions on our shows. And also you give us topics for our upcoming shows. All right, y'all. Y'all have a great day.